So you received the diagnosis, you were shocked, the shock wore off, and now this is your first step in finding, acquiring, establishing support system for your loved one. Services that could be provided at home or in a nursing home. The question, where do I find services for my loved one? The answer to that question will depend on where you live and who offers and who supports for services for loved one living with Alzheimer's could be different. One place that you could go to ask questions if you're not sure how to access services will be Alzheimer's Society. Even if they cannot provide the services you're looking for, they are a good resource in you finding out where to go next and where to get services for your loved one. So I live in Ontario, and all the reference I make will be based on how our healthcare system in Ontario works. So my first step was to make an appointment and get an intake officer to come into my house and take information. It was like 2 hours intake process that filled form after form, looking at my mother's income, my income, where we live, when I work, my mother's health background, my mother's background, where she was born, her mother, it was everything. So we filled those out. And at some point, the agent asked me if I wanted to put my mother's name on a wait list for nursing home. I don't know how it works where you are, but here there is a wait for a bed to become available for a nursing home, especially if you wanted a unit or a facility that has a memory care unit, and then you might wait for a year and a half. So she asked me, do I want to put my mother's name on a wait list? And I said no. But that answer was not satisfactory to the agent, and she really didn't understand why I would say no. I'm not saying that she meant anything bad by it, but she didn't know, based on who I am and the cultural background I came from, we don't put our elderly loved ones away. My mother took care of me and helped me take care of my children when I became a single mother to 5 children. So it was about time, in my opinion, I returned the favor and I took care of my mother. That worker who was there taking my intake didn't accept my answer. And perhaps she thought I didn't understand what I was getting myself into. So if you are going through the intake process, it's a very good idea for you to know what do you want the outcome to be. And it's perfectly fine for you to say, no, I don't want to put them on a wait list for a nursing home, and then decide that 6 months down the road, this is getting quite difficult. You could put your loved one's name on the wait list then, and then when the room becomes available, you can still say no. But that means your name will be pulled out of the list and maybe put at the back of the list. And they will tell you that. But do not feel obligated to go along with something that somebody is suggesting or telling you if you don't think that is the right approach for your family. And know that you can always change your mind. Changing your mind might be, let's say, if you put them on a wait list and then that comes up 18 months later and you say, no, we don't want to put mom or dad or a spouse in a nursing home. And 6 months down the road, if you say, okay, we want that room again, that room might not be available. You might have to wait for another year. And I didn't know those intricacies. So when she asked me a second time, I said, no, I don't want to put her. And she was finishing up, but she says, are you sure you do not want to put your mother's name on a wait list for a nursing home? And I said to her, listen, I have a very good job that I like a lot, and it pays me very well. So if it comes down to me quitting my job, or putting my mother in a nursing home, I will quit my job. So that is how clear I was on in making sure I kept my mother home, because that's something that works with my cultural values. That's something that works with my moral values, that I think it's my responsibility to take care of my mother. But I'm not saying your approach to it is wrong. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. So when you go in those intakes, it would be a good idea for you to write down, what do you want the outcome for this intake to be? You had the power to gain exactly what you wanted out of this intake. What would that be? Would that be having a nurse that came to the house to check on your loved one once a week? Would that be having a doctor that does a house visit that this agency would pay for to come to the house to check if your loved one is not mobile? Would that mean for you to have your loved one on a wait list, the best memory facility possible for you? What is it? My suggestion to you would be, before you go on the intake and before you go any follow-up meetings with whatever agency you're dealing with, write down for yourself, what would you want to be the outcome for this meeting? Because you cannot really come up with answers. I wasn't so clear whether I was going to put my mother in a nursing home or not. Then it would have been really difficult for me to answer. After that, all the follow-up meetings with any agency I dealt with, I always jot down for myself, what was I looking for? What did I want to be the outcome? What do I need to do to get that approved? I have this worksheet that I use every time that I go in one of those meetings, and I'll have a couple examples of the outcome that I wanted, and might not be the same outcome you want, but those will give you an idea of how to frame and have that. You don't even really have to have the paper, but I always have the paper. If I do not get the outcome that I wanted, I would jot down I didn't get the outcome and what were follow-ups. Sometimes they will say, in order for you to get more hours, you need her doctor to fill out this or this form. And I'll say, okay, the follow-up is contact mom's doctor and do this and this. And then it will say, once you have these papers, the doctor send, we schedule a meeting. So I have what I wanted the outcome to be, and then I have a column that says succeeded, and then I have another one that says no, and then I have another one that says follow-up. That's how I organize myself. So if you want to see how I do all these steps, please download my podcast, My Mother, the Person and the Patient. In this podcast, I don't only explore my mother as the patient living with Alzheimer's, but I also tell you the stories of my mother as the person before she was diagnosed. If you found any value in this video, please remember to subscribe and press that bell notification so you'll be notified every Thursday when I upload a new video. Until next time, bye for now.